Bringing timeless Buddhist principles to everyday life, we explore mindfulness, compassion, and self-awareness in a modern context. By connecting ancient wisdom to today's challenges, we guide you toward inner peace, clarity, and resilience. Welcome to Radiant Wisdom.
Hello and welcome to Radiant Wisdom. Here we don't just tell stories, we explore timeless lessons that help us navigate the complexities of life. Whether you're here to find solace, inspiration, or simply a new perspective, you've come to the right place. If you enjoy this journey with us, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected. And remember, the comment section is your space to share your thoughts. Your voice matters here. Today, we'll dive into a topic that touches every single one of us: letting go. In a world that constantly urges us to achieve, accumulate, and hold on, letting go can feel counterintuitive. Yet it is often the key to true happiness, peace, and freedom. Letting go is not about giving up. It's about releasing the weight that no longer serves you. Whether that weight is material possessions, emotional baggage, or the expectations of others. It's about creating space in your life for what truly matters. Think about it. How many of us feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of stuff in our lives? Physical clutter, endless to-do lists, and digital distractions. These things drain our energy without us even realizing it. And then there's the emotional clutter, grudges we hold on to, relationships that weigh us down, and the relentless pressure to meet societal standards. But what if we could learn to release these burdens? Imagine feeling lighter, freer, and more at peace. What if you could wake up every day with clarity and purpose, unburdened by the unnecessary? It's important to note that letting go doesn't happen overnight. It's a practice, a journey. It begins with small steps. Choosing to release one thing at a time, whether it's a physical object you no longer need, a toxic thought pattern, or an expectation that no longer aligns with who you are. Over time, these small acts of release can lead to profound transformation. And why should we bother? Because the benefits of letting go are extraordinary. When we let go of material attachments, we discover that happiness doesn't come from possessions. When we release emotional burdens, we find peace in forgiveness and self-acceptance. And when we stop clinging to rigid expectations, we open ourselves to the beauty of life's unpredictability. At its core, letting go is an act of self-love. It's about choosing your well-being over the things that hold you back. It's about trusting that you have everything you need within yourself, without relying on external validation or control. Throughout this episode, we'll explore the concept of letting go through the lens of timeless wisdom. We'll share stories that shed light on the transformative power of release, practical tips to help you embrace the practice, and reflections to inspire you along the way. So take a deep breath. This is your moment to pause, reflect, and reset. Let's journey together into the art of letting go. By the end of this episode, you might just discover that the things you've been holding on to are the very things holding you back. Now, let's begin. The farmer and his cows. Once, deep in a forest bathed in golden sunlight, the Buddha and his disciples sat together in silent meditation. The quiet was profound, the kind that allows the mind to rest and the heart to open. Birds chirped softly in the distance, leaves rustled in the gentle breeze, and the serenity of the moment seemed to touch every soul present. Suddenly, the sound of hurried footsteps shattered the peace. A man, breathless and drenched in sweat, burst into the clearing. His eyes were wild with panic, and his voice trembled as he cried out, "Monks, have you seen them? My cows, 12 of them. Have you seen them pass through here?" The Buddha opened his eyes and regarded the man with calm compassion. "We have been sitting here all day," he said gently, "and no cows have passed by. Perhaps you should look on the other side of the forest." The man's shoulders slumped as despair consumed him. He muttered under his breath, "Oh no." First my crops failed and now this. My cows are gone, everything is gone. How will I survive? How will I provide for my family? With a heavy heart, he turned and stumbled back into the forest, his cries fading into the distance. When the man was gone, the Buddha turned to his disciples, a faint smile on his lips. He said, "Do you see, my friends? We have no cows to lose. That is why we are at peace." The disciples, who had been watching in silence, nodded slowly, beginning to grasp the depth of this simple yet profound statement. But what does this story mean for us? How are we, in our modern lives, like that farmer? We all have our own cows. For the farmer, they were literal, his livelihood, his wealth, and his sense of security. But for us, these cows often take other forms: material possessions, relationships, careers, or even the intangible things like pride, status, and reputation. We cling to these things, believing they define who we are or protect us from life's uncertainties. The farmer's panic is a reflection of what happens when we tie our happiness and identity to the things we own or control. The moment those things are threatened or taken away, we are consumed by fear, anxiety, and sorrow. But here's the lesson. Peace doesn't come from having cows. It comes from not needing them. The Buddha's words remind us that freedom lies not in accumulation, but in detachment. The fewer cows we depend on for our happiness, the less vulnerable we are to loss and suffering. Now, this doesn't mean we should abandon our responsibilities or renounce all possessions. The cows in the story aren't inherently bad. After all, they provided the farmer with sustenance and security. But when we hold on to anything too tightly, we give it the power to control us. Imagine if the farmer had been able to say, "Yes, I've lost my cows, but I still have my health, my family, and my ability to work. I will find a way to rebuild." How different his experience might have been. So, the question we must ask ourselves is this: what are our cows? What are the things we cling to, the things we believe we cannot live without? And how would our lives change if we learned to loosen our grip? The story of the farmer and his cows is not just about material possessions. It's a mirror for our inner lives, reminding us that peace doesn't come from what we own. It comes from what we can let go of. The burden of material attachments. In our modern world, material possessions often define success, security, and even identity. From the latest gadgets to designer clothing, a bigger house, or a new car, we are surrounded by messages that tell us, "You need this to be happy." We work tirelessly to accumulate these things, believing they will bring us comfort and stability. And yet, the more we acquire, the more we feel weighed down. Why is that? Why do material possessions, which seem to promise so much, often leave us feeling empty or anxious? It's because every item we own carries with it an invisible burden. A new car comes with maintenance, insurance, and the constant worry of scratches or breakdowns. A large home requires cleaning, repairs, and often a higher mortgage. Even the smallest of objects, a phone, a watch, or a piece of jewelry, demands our care and attention, creating subtle yet persistent stress. The paradox is that while these possessions may bring temporary satisfaction, they also tether us to a cycle of worry. We fear losing them, damaging them, or falling behind as newer, shinier versions come along. This constant attachment creates a never-ending loop of desire and dissatisfaction. Take a moment to consider, how much time do you spend maintaining or worrying about your possessions? How much energy is consumed by the thought of acquiring more? And how often do you find yourself disappointed when the joy of a new purchase fades quicker than expected? Let's imagine a scenario. You've just bought the latest smartphone, a sleek and powerful device. For the first few days, you're thrilled. It's fast, shiny, and filled with exciting features. But soon a crack appears on the screen or a newer model is announced. That initial excitement turns into frustration or even envy. This is the trap of material attachment. The truth is, Material possessions are not inherently bad. They serve important purposes in our lives, providing comfort, convenience, and even moments of joy. But the problem arises when we place too much value on them, when we start equating our worth or happiness with the things we own. In this way, our possessions can become more than just objects. They become extensions of our identity. Losing them feels like losing a part of ourselves, and this fear keeps us chained. But what if we could shift our mindset? What if we could see possessions for what they truly are? Tools to support our lives, not define them. Imagine this. You declutter your home, letting go of items you no longer use or need. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, like you're losing something valuable. But then, you notice the space opening up. Physically and mentally, you feel lighter, freer, and less tied down. With fewer things to worry about, you find more time to focus on experiences, relationships, and personal growth. This practice of letting go is not about rejecting material comfort or living in poverty. It's about redefining your relationship with things. Instead of asking, "What can I own?" ask, "What do I truly need?" Instead of holding on to things out of fear or habit, consider whether they add value to your life. By embracing this mindset, you begin to free yourself from the burden of material attachments. You discover that happiness doesn't come from accumulation, but from appreciating what you have and focusing on what truly matters. The path to freedom begins with a single step, letting go of what no longer serves you. As you lighten your load, you'll find that life becomes richer, not because of what you own, but because of the space you've created for what truly matters. So ask yourself today, what possessions are weighing me down? What can I let go of to make room for peace, clarity, and joy? The answers might surprise you. The invisible weight of emotional attachments. Emotional attachments are an integral part of being human. They connect us to others, give meaning to our experiences, and shape the way we navigate life. But when these attachments become excessive or misplaced, they can weigh us down in ways we may not even realize. Unlike physical possessions, emotional attachments aren't something we can see or touch. Yet they often burden us just as heavily, holding us back from the peace and freedom we seek. Take a moment to consider. Have you ever clung to a relationship that no longer served you, simply because the idea of letting go felt unbearable? Have you replayed a moment of failure or rejection over and over in your mind, unable to move past the sting of those emotions? These are examples of how emotional attachments quietly occupy our hearts and minds, leaving little room for joy, growth, or clarity. One of the most common forms of emotional attachment is our need for validation. We often find ourselves seeking approval from others, whether it's through words of affirmation, social media likes, or professional recognition. While it's natural to want to feel valued, relying too heavily on external validation can lead to a cycle of dependence. Imagine basing your self-worth entirely on someone else's opinion. The moment that approval is withheld or lost, it feels as though the foundation of your confidence crumbles. This constant need creates an emotional weight that's exhausting to carry. Another invisible burden comes from our attachments to past experiences. It's easy to dwell on memories of hurt, regret, or failure, replaying those moments in our minds like a broken record. We tell ourselves, "If only I had done this differently," or "Why didn't I see this coming?" While reflection can be a powerful tool for growth, excessive rumination only traps us in a cycle of self-blame and sadness. These attachments to the past not only drain our energy, but also prevent us from fully embracing the present. Sometimes, our emotional attachments are tied to people, partners, friends, family members, or even colleagues. While relationships are essential to a fulfilling life, they can also become sources of strain when we cling too tightly. For example, staying in a toxic relationship out of fear of loneliness, or expecting someone to fulfill all your emotional needs can lead to frustration and resentment. Similarly, holding on to unrealistic expectations of how others should behave often results in disappointment and conflict. Even our attachment to positive emotions can become a weight. We may chase happiness, success, or love so intensely that we become fearful of losing them. This attachment creates anxiety, as we feel compelled to constantly protect or replicate these feelings. Ironically, the more we cling to these emotions, the more elusive they become. So, how do we lighten the invisible weight of emotional attachments? The answer lies in cultivating awareness and practicing intentional release. Start by asking yourself, what am I holding on to? Is this attachment serving me, or is it keeping me stuck? Simply identifying the emotions, relationships, or memories that no longer serve you is a powerful first step. Next, embrace acceptance. Understand that life is ever-changing, and clinging to what was or what you wish could be only deepens your suffering. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or resigning yourself to pain. It means making peace with what you cannot change and finding the courage to move forward. Forgiveness is another essential tool. Holding on to anger, resentment, or guilt only prolongs your suffering. When you forgive someone or yourself, you free your heart from the chains of the past. Forgiveness doesn't excuse harm or wrongdoing. It's an act of self-liberation that allows you to heal and grow. Finally, focus on presence. Emotional attachments often arise when we dwell too much on the past or worry about the future. By grounding yourself in the present moment, you create space for clarity and peace. Mindfulness practices such as meditation or journaling can help you anchor your thoughts and emotions in the here and now. Releasing emotional attachments is not an easy process. It requires self-awareness, patience, and a deep commitment to your own well-being. But as you let go of what no longer serves you, you'll find yourself feeling lighter, freer, and more connected to the life you truly want to live. So, ask yourself, what emotional attachments are weighing me down? What would it feel like to finally let them go? The journey toward emotional freedom begins with this simple yet profound decision to release and move forward. Letting go as courage, not loss. Letting go is often misunderstood as a form of defeat, a surrendering of what we value or cherish. But in truth, letting go is one of the bravest acts we can undertake. It requires immense courage to release what is familiar, even when it no longer serves us. Letting go is not about giving up, it's about making space for growth, for healing, and for new possibilities. Why does letting go feel so difficult? It's because we're hardwired to seek security. Holding on, whether to possessions, relationships, or emotions, gives us a sense of control, a belief that we're safeguarding ourselves from uncertainty. Yet, in reality, clinging too tightly often leads to more pain. It's like gripping a rope too hard. The tighter we hold, the more it burns our hands. Consider a common example: holding on to a toxic relationship. The fear of being alone or the hope that things might improve keeps us tethered. But staying in a situation that drains your energy and diminishes your spirit is not safety, it's stagnation. Letting go of that relationship is an act of courage because it means facing the unknown. It's a leap of faith that by releasing what is harmful, you're opening yourself to something healthier and more fulfilling. Letting go also takes courage because it challenges our identity. We often define ourselves by what we own, what we do, or the roles we play in others' lives. When we let go of these attachments, we may feel a momentary void, as if we've lost a part of who we are. But this is where true growth happens. By shedding these external layers, we come closer to understanding our authentic selves, who we are at our core, beyond the labels and possessions. Think of a tree in autumn. As the seasons change, it releases its leaves, not out of despair, but because it knows this shedding is necessary for renewal. In the same way, letting go allows us to shed the old and make way for the new. It's an act of trust in the cycles of life, a belief that what we release will either come back transformed or be replaced by something even better. Another reason letting go is courageous is that it forces us to confront our fears. Whether it's the fear of failure, rejection, or uncertainty, letting go means stepping outside of our comfort zone. Imagine an artist hesitant to share their work with the world, clinging to the safety of anonymity. The act of letting go of their fear of judgment requires bravery. Yet, in doing so, they open the door to connection, appreciation, and growth. But how do we cultivate the courage to let go? It starts with a mindset shift. Instead of viewing letting go as loss, see it as liberation. What are you gaining by releasing what no longer serves you? Perhaps it's peace of mind, emotional clarity, or the freedom to pursue something meaningful. Next, take small steps. Letting go doesn't have to happen all at once. Begin with manageable actions, like decluttering a space in your home or setting a boundary in a challenging relationship. Each step reinforces your strength and builds momentum for bigger changes. Finally, remind yourself that letting go doesn't erase the value of what you're releasing. The memories, lessons, and love you've experienced remain a part of you. Letting go doesn't diminish those things. It honors them by allowing you to move forward without being weighed down. Letting go is an act of courage because it's an act of self-trust. It's believing that you are strong enough to navigate what lies ahead, even if it's unknown. It's trusting that by releasing the old, you are creating space for something beautiful to enter your life. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is no longer serving you? And what might your life look like if you found the courage to let it go? Remember, letting go is not a loss. It's a bold, empowering step toward freedom and self-discovery. Practical steps to let go. Letting go may sound like a lofty ideal, something easier said than done. But like any skill, it can be learned and practiced. Letting go doesn't have to be a dramatic all-or-nothing act. It's a process that unfolds step by step. By taking intentional actions, you can gradually release the emotional, mental, or physical burdens holding you back. Here are some practical steps to help you navigate the journey of letting go with clarity and confidence. 1. Identify what you're holding on to. The first step in letting go is awareness. You can't release something if you don't know what it is. Take time to reflect on the things, emotions, or relationships that are weighing you down. Are you clinging to past mistakes or regrets? Do you feel tied to toxic relationships or unrealistic expectations? Are you holding on to material possessions that no longer serve a purpose? Journaling can be an effective way to identify these attachments. Write down what comes to mind when you ask yourself, what is holding me back? Seeing it on paper can bring clarity and help you prioritize where to begin. 2. Start small. Letting go doesn't have to involve massive life changes right away. Start with something manageable to build confidence in the process. Declutter a single drawer in your home. Donate items you no longer use or need. Release a minor grudge by choosing to forgive someone for a small mistake. Take a day off social media to free yourself from the need for constant validation. Small victories create momentum, making it easier to tackle bigger challenges later on. 3. Practice acceptance. One of the biggest obstacles to letting go is resistance, our unwillingness to accept reality as it is. Acceptance doesn't mean you agree with or condone what happened. It simply means acknowledging the truth of the situation. Accept that the past cannot be changed, but the future is within your control. Recognize that not all relationships are meant to last, and that's okay. Understand that life's uncertainties are a natural part of the human experience. When you stop fighting against what is, you create space to focus on what can be. 4. Set boundaries. Sometimes, letting go requires creating distance between yourself and the sources of stress or negativity. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It's an act of self-care. Politely but firmly limit your interactions with people who drain your energy. Say no to commitments or responsibilities that overwhelm you. Establish clear guidelines for how you want to be treated in relationships. Boundaries protect your emotional well-being and empower you to let go of situations that don't align with your values or goals. 5. Forgive yourself and others. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for letting go. When you hold on to anger, resentment, or guilt, you're carrying emotional weight that only harms you. If you're struggling to forgive someone, try to see the situation from their perspective. Recognize their humanity and imperfections. If you need to forgive yourself, remind yourself that everyone makes mistakes. What matters most is how you learn and grow from them. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it releases its grip on your present. 6. Focus on the present. Emotional attachments often keep us tethered to the past or worried about the future. By grounding yourself in the present moment, you can reduce anxiety and gain perspective. Practice mindfulness by paying attention to your breath or the sensations around you. Engage in activities that fully absorb your attention, like gardening, painting, or exercising. Use affirmations such as, "I am here now," or "This moment is enough." The present is where life happens, and it's the only place where you have the power to let go. 7. Embrace the idea of growth. Letting go is not about loss, it's about making room for new opportunities and experiences. View the process as an act of self-love and a way to nurture your personal growth. Reflect on past experiences where letting go led to unexpected benefits. Remind yourself that releasing what no longer serves you allows you to step into a brighter future. 8. Seek support. You don't have to navigate this journey alone. Sharing your struggles with a trusted friend, family member, or counselor can provide comfort and perspective. Sometimes, just speaking your thoughts out loud can help you realize what needs to be released. Letting go is a practice, a process of unburdening yourself little by little. It's not about erasing the past or cutting ties recklessly. Instead, it's about choosing peace, clarity, and freedom over fear, guilt, and attachment. So, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is one small thing I can let go of today? With each step, you'll find yourself growing lighter, stronger, and more aligned with the life you truly want to live. The ultimate lesson. As we explore the concept of letting go, one truth becomes clear. Letting go is not just an act, it's a way of living. It is an invitation to free ourselves from the chains of attachment and embrace life with openness, curiosity, and courage. The ultimate lesson of letting go is not about loss. It's about liberation, transformation, and the rediscovery of who we truly are. Life is inherently impermanent. Everything we see, touch, and experience is in a constant state of change. Relationships evolve, material possessions break or fade, and even the strongest emotions shift over time. Yet we often resist this truth, clinging tightly to the illusion of permanence. We hold on to possessions, people, and moments as if they define us, fearing that letting go will leave us empty. But in reality, it is through releasing our grip that we create space for growth and fulfillment. The ultimate lesson of letting go begins with understanding that attachment itself is the root of much of our suffering. We suffer not because things end, but because we resist their ending. We feel pain not because we lose something, but because we tie our identity and happiness to things that are beyond our control. Letting go is about untying those knots. Let's take the example of personal achievements. Many of us attach our self-worth to our successes, the promotion we earned, the degree we worked hard for, or the accolades we've received. While these accomplishments are meaningful, they are not who we are. By attaching our identity to them, we set ourselves up for anxiety and fear. What happens when the applause stops? What happens when our circumstances change? Letting go teaches us that our true value lies within, independent of external validation. Similarly, letting go applies to our relationships. Loving someone deeply does not mean clinging to them or trying to control their actions. It means giving them the freedom to grow, evolve, and sometimes even move on. True love is not about possession. It's about connection, respect, and understanding. When we let go of our need to hold on tightly, we allow relationships to flourish naturally and authentically. But perhaps the most profound aspect of letting go is its impact on our inner world. Many of us carry invisible burdens, regrets from the past, fears of the future, and self-doubt that whispers we are not enough. These mental and emotional weights can hold us back from living fully. Letting go doesn't mean ignoring these feelings. It means facing them with compassion and choosing not to let them define us. To embrace this lesson, we must shift our perspective. Instead of viewing life as a series of things to acquire or control, we can see it as a flowing river. Everything, our possessions, experiences, and emotions, is part of that flow. Trying to hold on to the river only disrupts its natural course. Letting go, on the other hand, allows us to move with the current, finding peace in its rhythm. So, how do we live this lesson every day? It begins with small, intentional practices. When faced with a challenge, ask yourself, what am I clinging to in this situation? What would happen if I released it? This simple reflection can reveal new perspectives and help you find clarity. Next, embrace gratitude. By focusing on what you have in the present moment, you shift your attention away from what you fear losing. Gratitude reminds you that life's beauty lies not in its permanence, but in its fleeting, precious moments. Finally, trust the process. Letting go is not about giving up control. It's about recognizing that control is an illusion. Trust that by releasing what no longer serves you, you're creating space for something better to emerge. The ultimate lesson of letting go is that it's a path to freedom. It's not about erasing your past or detaching from the world. It's about living with an open heart, unburdened by fear and attachment. It's about finding peace in the impermanence of life and discovering the strength that lies within you. So ask yourself, what can I let go of today? Whether it's a possession, an expectation, or a lingering regret, take a step toward freedom. As you let go, you'll find that the space left behind is not emptiness, it's possibility. And in that space, life's truest treasures await. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey through the art of letting go, take a moment to pause, breathe deeply, and reflect on what you've heard. The stories, insights, and practical steps we've explored aren't just abstract ideas. They're tools, seeds of change, and invitations to live more freely. Letting go is not an endpoint, it's a practice, a way of approaching life with open hands and an open heart. It's about embracing the impermanence of all things, not with fear, but with trust and acceptance. It's about recognizing that the weight we carry, whether physical, emotional, or mental, is optional. We've talked about material possessions and how they can sometimes own us more than we own them. By releasing what we don't need, we make room for simplicity, clarity, and peace. We've explored the invisible burdens of emotional attachments, grudges, fears, and the need for validation that silently weigh us down. And we've touched on the courage it takes to let go, to release the familiar and step into the unknown with faith that something better awaits. Through it all, one truth shines brightly. Letting go is not about losing, it's about gaining. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for growth, healing, and the things that truly matter. You give yourself the gift of freedom. But this isn't just about big, life-changing decisions. Letting go happens in small, everyday moments. It's in forgiving someone who cut you off in traffic. It's in choosing to let go of the need to win an argument. It's in walking away from toxic environments or saying no to commitments that drain your energy. So, as you move forward from this moment, I invite you to make letting go a part of your life. not as an obligation, but as a gift you give yourself. Here are a few ways to begin. 1. Reflect on what matters most. Ask yourself, what truly brings me peace, joy, and purpose? Focus your energy on nurturing those things and let go of what distracts you from them. 2. Embrace change as a constant. Life is always shifting. Instead of resisting change, try welcoming it. See it as an opportunity to grow and discover new possibilities. 3. Practice gratitude. Letting go becomes easier when you focus on the abundance of what you already have. Take time each day to appreciate the people, experiences, and opportunities in your life. 4. Celebrate small victories. Every step you take toward letting go, no matter how small, is a step toward freedom. Acknowledge your progress and be kind to yourself as you navigate this journey. Letting go is deeply personal. It's not about following a rigid formula. It's about finding what works for you at your own pace. There will be moments when it feels challenging, even impossible, but remember, every act of release, no matter how small, lightens your load. As we close, I want to leave you with this thought. Letting go is an act of love. It's a love for yourself, a recognition that you deserve peace and freedom. It's a love for the people around you, allowing them the space to grow and change. And it's a love for life itself, embracing its unpredictability and finding joy in its fleeting beauty. Thank you for joining me today on this exploration of letting go. If this message resonated with you, I encourage you to share it with someone who might need it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Radiant Wisdom for more stories and insights that nourish the soul. And as you step back into your day, carry this reminder with you. You are stronger than you know, and every act of letting go brings you closer to the peace and freedom you deserve. Until next time, take care, stay present, and keep letting go.